You know, I mean, if you look at music back in the day, some of it is made that way with live recordings, and they keep stuff that wasn't perfect, and the imperfection creates what people love afterwards also.
Yeah. It's a lot about that, and finding sounds that are kind of not too played out and like unusual. That's a process that can be fun.
Do you have any like go-to sound banks or VSTs or instruments that you like to go to?
Yeah, definitely the usual stuff like Omnisphere and Splice and Silent.
Everybody's using Splice, right?
Yeah, I use RC20 a lot now on everything because it's.
I just heard about RC20.
Yeah, it just makes everything. It just does this distortion, lo-fi kind of. It's a combination of different things, and it makes everything sound like a sample, which is dope. So that's definitely the secret sauce of the minute.
Amazing. So what influences your decisions when it comes to structure and arrangement?
Yeah, that's another thing we play around a lot with, trying to get transitions as effective as possible. Like does the chorus work better broken down, or does it work better with a full beat? Does it need this pre-chorus? Could the pre-chorus be half as long?
Yeah. And you can have like a bomb chorus, like a real good chorus, but the transition from that pre kills the chorus. You know what I mean? So that's like a puzzle too.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle, yeah.
Yeah. To make all those, how do we get that chorus that we know is really good, really pop out and feel natural in that? And that could be like one line just before that makes that work. That's the puzzle. I think this is kind of what they now call the Swedish way of songwriting too. That it had become like an expression for that, like how they like mathematically
approach.
mathematically think how things will work. You know, how to pop out in the right way, and you know what I mean. You go into really detailed things with the songwriting.
It's kind of a cool approach because you have all those inspirational moments and sounds and from the writing session, so where things just came out naturally and there might be a lot of emotion in that, and then it's all about putting that together in the right way.
How much of that do you get done in the songwriting session, and how much of that is done afterwards?
As far as the song goes, I think about 70% probably. And then the rest is then production and editing.
But do you have, like, let's say the structure in place, meaning like, you know, where that whole puzzle of where the verse, chorus, how all that stuff like lines up? Is that all done in the
Yeah, probably about up to second chorus, and then we usually have a bunch of parts that we recorded that we then move around. So we have like a few different like B hooks and C hooks and D hooks.
Yeah, and sometimes afterwards, you just realize, maybe we should start with the chorus too, broken down, exactly. And then arranging can make a big difference at the end of the day. Especially for the person who hears the song for the first time, you know? When you're in the process, you hear every part 100 times, so you get so used to it. But then you have to start putting into perspective of somebody coming into the room that wasn't part of this, hearing it from the first time. Would this sell really well to somebody just walking in now?
Like my wife might walk past and say, "Oh, that's really annoying." Like, I say, "Oh shit, you're right." Yeah. Or she say, "Oh, I love that." I said, "What, really?" Yeah.
It's good to get a little feedback.
It's a good perspective to have somebody that from the outside, but just hearing it for the first time, you get so caught up yourself sometimes.
Yeah, both our wives are not musicians. Not professional musicians. So having their opinion kind of in the room is cool sometimes.
Yeah, it could be really cool.
Do they ever join you on your jaunts off in, like, you know, different places throughout Europe?
Yeah, my wife's a doctor, so she can't really travel that much. Joacim's wife comes along sometimes.
Yeah, she comes along a lot. She was with us in LA the time before last, and it's probably going to come. We're going to Los Angeles again now, the beginning of November, for 2 weeks of writing sessions, and then she's probably going to come along too. That's good.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is.
That's fun.
It really is.
So do you guys have any templates that you work of to kind of get things going faster, or is that not something you're into?
I have for 10 years thinking about getting those templates. I've been thinking of I should get templates for recordings, sessions and I never.
I thought about it too, never done it. I have track presets for some things, like just a basic vocal chain that you can just bring it up quickly. But then I forget to use it as well. You just actually reminded me that I have that.
Nice. That's good to know.
Yeah.
No, but it's smart to have those templates. I've seen guys, the producers that are really organized. You know, these guys that are so organized with everything.
Yeah,
their samples, all their samples are perfectly. They know where everything is, and the templates are also perfect. It saves a lot of. They just have templates for different male characters, different vocal chains, blah blah blah, and then that saves a lot of time and also gives you options to try things out way faster.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be a thing now.
That was good. Yeah,
that was good.
Let's start with that today. Let's spend the rest of the day making templates. I think the smart thing about templates is when once in a while you just, for example, if you're talking about a vocal chain that you feel is really good on a specific voice, I never save those. You should just save those into.
Yeah, I know.
And then boom.
Channel strip even, just a channel strip.
Like a channel, channel strips. You save channel strips, exactly.
I have one on the master that I use all the time, but that's about it.
Nice. I mean, you still seem to work pretty quickly, to be honest. Like just from that one songwriting session that I witnessed with your mobile little speakers and the microphone and the whole situation, and you were bringing up some sample libraries and all that stuff really fast. So, do you do anything specifically to work fast?
No, I kind of know where certain things are, because I've actually been carrying this sample library that I have now around with me since 2002 or something. You know, it's just been building and building and just adding on and adding on and adding on. So I know pretty well where everything is.
Right.
You know, for the earliest ones came early 2000s, whatever. Now with Splice and everything, and I also try to use a lot of live stuff or synths and playing some percussions or knives and forks and weird shit sticks, just to add certain flavors to drums.
I think every producer has their go-to sounds too, right? The bank of that works. This kick drum will sit with that bass. I know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys feel like you have a trademark sound?
I don't think so. People have said it, but I don't think.
Almost easier for somebody from the outside to judge that than yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it's really hard to judge.
It's I think it's easier for.
That makes sense. Yeah, totally.
To me, everything sounds different. I wish it was more cohesive. Everything sounds very different.
Do you guys have a philosophy when it comes to remixes? You say you guys do some remixes occasionally.
Not really, I guess.
I mean, that always doing remixes is so depending on what song you're remixing, right? What would work with this one? Is it what's the tempo? What's the vibe? What can you actually do with this song? Sometimes certain songs should not even be remixed, I think. And sometimes the remix can actually become a way better version than the original. So
I think that's a good approach to have, is actually try to make that song. I mean, because we're not the kind of experimental electronic dudes where it's all about 3 minutes of modular synth stuff. I think we try to make the song how would we produce it, kind of, so the remix itself could be on the radio.
Yeah. Right. It would be your version of the production for the song, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, yeah.
So we did one for Dua Lipa, which was called Thinking About You, and we just tried to make, and the original was very acoustic and quite sort of loungy, and we thought the song was really good, but we felt like it could be more pop or more in your face, so we did a version that we thought could work on the radio if it were produced out, and it actually did.
And they started playing that on the radio, and they started using that in big commercials all over the world for Pepper Jeans. Yeah, so that became.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that. So that's fun when it goes that way. A remix actually gets a real life, not only a little club.
Right, and I think that's a good point actually, because it sort of thinking also about not only creatively, but also what opportunities could that song have further down the road. if I do it a certain way. Like if you're writing something, even during the writing process, could we write something that would work for sync, for movie pitching, for ads, because they have a good set, like his publishing or whatever, or his label is good at that. So thinking even a little bit ahead of the song is also part of the process, I think.
Amazing. Most of us tend to fluctuate between high and low levels of creativity. Do you do anything specific when you need to get a boost or get inspired?
Drink. I'm joking.
I mean, no, it's like, personally, I feel like that it comes and goes. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes there's nothing, and sometimes there's like an endless flow of it. I don't know, it's just goes. I don't exactly know what it depends. I think it's in my mood and mindset, but it's hard to trigger it. You know what I mean?
Very hard. I mean, the only thing you could do is be prepared, I guess.
Yeah.
Like have some ideas on your phone, some good ideas or some good beats already prepared.
And
so
feel excited. I
Yeah.
think that's a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
Like have an excitement level where your mind is not somewhere else and you're in that moment, whatever.
Yeah. I love that. Do you guys have any go-to session musicians when needed?
Yes, some. Yeah. I mean, my brother's a good guitarist, so he does a lot of guitar work. And otherwise, we have some people for backing vocals that we tend to go to sometimes. And
So a few drummers we use, but
yeah, we do quite a lot ourselves. As far as guitars and keys and percussions, we do a lot of it ourselves because it's just faster.
Yeah, sure. Do you ever feel like you need to rent out a big studio, or are you able to do everything with your mobile rig or in your home?
Yeah, pretty much everything is done here.
it's if you do strings, right, or something like that, then you need a setup that has a different acoustic and everything.
Yeah, totally. Drum recordings, strings, those things that need more elaborate miking and stuff. That's what we need a studio for.
But it's kind of ridiculous to have big studios in this pop whatever world of writing and producing. And you also go with where we've been in America, been working in Paramount Studios. Is like massive room. Okay, the speakers is one thing that you actually hear your music in.
I think people go there for the speakers.
Yeah, I think they actually pay those money for the speakers for being in the room, because you only use 2 channels, right?
Yeah,
and maybe one for the mic, but that's literally
it. Yeah,
that's
people
it.
sitting there on a massive G series. Like basically every big studio session in America, you're sitting in front of a huge G series SSL or a massive Neve.
Yeah.
And you've just got your laptop plugged in left and right.
Yeah. and the vocalist running in and out of the room next to the big room to record vocals, and totally also unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then you come back and thinking, is the raw sound of these vocals any better than the ones we have when we carry our little mic with us around in hotel rooms? And then you realize, no, it's not. You just paid way more for it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So awesome.
Wow. That's a great takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah.
Not to be discouraged about, like, oh, I don't have an amazing studio, like people are doing stuff from everywhere and anywhere. Like,
absolutely. 100%.
Totally.
That's awesome.
I think you need one kind of decent mic and one decent interface, and then you're good to go.
Amazing advice. So who mixes and masters the music you create, and what influences your decision of who you hire?
We work with this guy, Nikodem Milewski.
Nikodem.
He's in Vienna as well, and he's a great mixer. He's done a lot of stuff for Felix Jähn and a lot of big pop songs. We use him a lot because he's great, and he uses the same... He mixes on Cubase. And I'm running
nice.
Cubase, so that really helps.
Yeah, and he's good.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy, easy to do the revisions, and what you need to do is always fast, and you want to, I think sometimes you almost want to have a mix so that the communication is just as important. You know what I mean? Like there's somebody you communicate well with and on a smooth basis.
Yeah.
And the mastering guy is a guy called Sino Mickery in Berlin. We use a lot, almost on everything, I would say.
Yeah, he's become a really good friend of ours. He started off mastering like 6 years ago, I think. So he's our age, and he's really, really awesome. And sometimes we send him stems, just like vocals, drums, keys, bass, something like that. Just 4 stems.